Talking about family size SUVs, the Hyundai Palisade rarely comes to my mind, but today I'm going to show you exactly why it should have a spot in your brain if you're looking to pick up a large SUV. My name's Jason and you're watching Got an X. Now, the first thing we are going to talk about is obviously going to be the first thing you see, which is going to be the looks. And in the front here, the looks are not fantastic. I do think there is a big disconnect from what I feel like I'm getting myself into versus how this vehicle looks. I feel like these family-sized SUVs have a reputation of being a little bit bigger, more pronounced, and overall aggressive up front. And Hyundai does not deliver on that fact. You have these very narrow headlights here. The big thing here is the grille does not really stand out like the other ones. It's such a pushed back, doesn't really give that aggressive feel that you kind of want with one of these bigger SUVs. I really do think this look is what is holding this thing back for a lot of people. It just doesn't feel right up here. Now, the side profile will be short and simple. There are silver accents spread throughout that I think really do give a nice accent to the car. On top of that, the side of the car is quite large, giving you that extra space when you go on the inside, which is very nice. Let's go onto the back real quick and look at that. On the back of the Palisade, it's pretty standard. There's nothing really fantastic about it that stands out. You do have a completely electronic opening trunk, which is quite nice, which leads you to 18 cubic feet of storage space, but you can always drop down that third row and get 45.8 cubic feet, which I think is definitely the preferred amount. You can see all of our equipment is fit back here quite nicely because of that extra storage space. If it was the standard one, it would be a little bit cramped. I don't even think I could fit back here. But overall, the back here is not too bad at all. You also have electronically lowering seats, just a bunch of these nice little things to make your experience a lot easier in the back of the Palisade. Overall, it's pretty good. Now, onto the inside is really where this is going to be a hit or miss for, I think, about every single person. First thing you're going to notice, and first thing that I notice, is going to be this area right here. You have the weirdest looking shifter I've ever seen in my entire life. The park is on the side. It's like a 3P. I don't like it. I'm really not a fan of it, but it's not like, it's responsive at least, so that's like a benefit of the doubt, but that will definitely be something for some of you people. It's nowhere near as quirky as the Lincoln piano key, if you guys know what I'm talking about, but this is just something else. On top of that, you have your drive modes right here and a funny little wheel. It's very strange down here. That's all I can say about this. You do have fantastic feeling buttons though. I mean, before we started recording, I was just fidgeting. They just feel genuinely good to play with and mess around with. It's very responsive. Wheel is fine. There's nothing crazy about this. The material inside is also a little bit higher quality, but that is because we're on a higher trim. There are some cheap plasticky feeling things like this center console here though, so that's going to be something, but I don't think it's unreasonable. One of my favorite things in this car is going to be this right here on the door. I just really like this diamond diagonal pattern right here. I think that really is a nice little touch. Sound system is pretty good as well if we're going to touch on that. The gauge cluster here, fully digital, and I think it is fantastic. This is definitely great. I like it. It's sleek, it's clean, but on the other side, the infotainment screen is not sleek, it's not clean, it is clunky, and it feels cheap, and honestly is the worst part about this car. I mean, this screen right here, it has Android Auto, it has Apple CarPlay, but I've never seen anything so horribly integrated that it kind of just throws you off. Maybe it's me, maybe there's a learning curve. I'm not saying it's unusable, but it definitely isn't in my top 5 to 10 to 20 of cars that I've been in, because this is just not really there. Overall, I think it's a very nice interior up front. It is comfy. It's not bad in the slightest. As well, I'm going to touch quickly on the back seats. You do have a heaping helping of legroom. I think it's fantastic right there. They do a great job. It's definitely comfortable to sit in, as well as you have cooled and heated seats in the back too, which is incredible. That's not really common in my opinion to have both types. But overall, the experience of being in the car is pretty good, pretty solid. I do think there is a lot of space, and I wouldn't be mad if I was stuck in this for a long road trip. Now, driving the Palisade is going to be a pretty standard experience. I don't think it's anything fantastic. It doesn't feel horrible immediately, but honestly, it doesn't make me kick my feet going, "Ooh, this is exciting," you know? It's not really the best, but it's not the worst. I feel like that's kind of the middle ground you get. You have this 3.8 liter V6 engine in here, which doesn't create that. I think it's like 200 something horsepower. It's nothing crazy. So it's not really like a big like speed SUV. You don't feel powerful in it. It's kind of just relaxing, right? Like, this definitely feels like a car that you can get through road trips on and have like a nice experience with your family, and it's comfortable. That's like the biggest takeaway. I feel comfortable in this vehicle, but it's not necessarily like anything I'm gonna scream or write home about. One of the key things that I do think they do have are a lot of little features that do make driving a little bit easier. There is this thing where if you're turning and your blind spot monitor is going off, there's actually a little camera that pulls up and it shows you where you can just actually see what's going on out there, which I think is a fantastic little addition. But overall, I mean, it does definitely hold its own in its space. Like, you can definitely feel good driving this. It's not a bad driving experience at all, but it's nothing crazy. Now, the simple question is should you buy this Palisade? Well, personally speaking, I do think the Palisade impressed me. I think there's a few things that if you get over, like the looks up front here, it's actually a pretty decent overall SUV. I think the biggest thing with this is it undercuts its competitors by a heaping margin. I mean, this is the second highest trim, the highest trim being only about $3,000 more expensive, and this is still about $20,000 cheaper than some of the American SUVs. So I think it is really good in that aspect. But I don't think it's perfect. I think there are some gimmicks on the inside that definitely do push you a little bit away from it. So I think it's going to be love or hate. If you guys do like what this car has to offer, I think that price point is unbeatable. But if you don't really like all it has to offer, I think shelling out that extra little bit of cash might be worth it for you. Overall though, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.